Okay, so I just got done watching the Cowboy Bebop live action. Now, when I first heard about this, I was skeptical. When I saw the teaser trailers, I was more skeptical. When I saw the first full trailer, I was actually intrigued. Now, I'm just going to say I did not expect to like this as much as I do, but I did. And that's saying a lot considering there are a lot of things that changed. And I mean, like, overall, it's essentially the same story, but there are a lot of things that have changed from the anime for sure. So, but I can say bravo because I think they did a pretty good job. So I have a ton of notes and I will be reading from them because my memory is not the best, and there's a lot of things that stuck out to me while I was watching that I wanted to be sure to include on this review. So I'm going to be reading from my notes. um, First and foremost, there's a very almost Sin City type vibe, especially with the opening credits, the graphics in the opening credits. This is certainly way more adult themed. Just to let you know, this is a spoiler review, so if you don't want to know, come back after you've watched, because I want to know what people thought of this, because I really wasn't expecting to like this as much as I do, as I said a minute ago. But the episodes really flowed really well. And honestly, as the showrunner said, this is more of an expansion of the Cowboy Bebop story and universe, and it certainly was. Side note, right off the bat, I have to mention the Woodcock character. She is an interesting character, and Spike's reaction to her saying, "My favorite new person." The music definitely brought all the feels, although overall, I have to say I could have used more of it. I don't think there was, it was just enough, but I think it could have used more. The camera angles and the camera shots were very cinematic. They kind of told their own story in a way at times. And I am going to say the world that they visually built, like the world that you see in the anime, I think they nailed it on the live action. I really do. They did a good job on that. And okay, so despite all the things that I've seen John Cho in, I still always think of Harold from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. But I will say, I think overall he really did portray Spike pretty well. He kind of got that, dry sense of humor meets smartass meets nonchalant attitude, and ultimately covering up that tortured soul, And there was a moment when it almost felt like he had like this nonchalant, trigger happy vibe. Not trigger happy, but just nonchalant. Like you could tell, like this is just something that he did, at one point, like just taking people out, And I will say they also got his motivation and love of food for sure. Jet was pretty solid in truth. Although I thought he could have a little more sense of humor, because I always feel like Jet had a little more sense of humor in the anime. But, I'm partial to Bo Billingsley doing the voice, so maybe that's why. I got to meet him at an anime convention years ago, and he was really lovely. And that voice is just, it's so unique. I love it. I did also really like that they got Jet and Spike's back and forth banter. They did that pretty well. Some of the side characters were a little hokey and some were intriguing, like Katarina Montgomery. I liked what they did with her. It was pretty spot on, although I personally kind of wish that they had her character in this live action do about the same, exactly the same as her character did in the anime, but it was fine. It was pretty good overall. I liked Faye's introduction. I liked Spike's reaction to her holding the gun at the back of his head. Like, he was just so, like, doesn't care. Like, can I help you? Locking Faye in the bathroom was a good throwback to the anime. The fight scenes, while well choreographed, they kind of seemed cartoony at times, but then again, that might have been the point. Now the thing that I noticed also is that there's more reveals at the beginning than a lot of the reveals that we got at the end in the anime we were getting in the beginning in the live action. And Julia, she is far more prominent in this than she was in the anime. And speaking of the expansion of this world and universe, as the showrunner had said, that was something else they did. They gave Spike another name in the for his time in the Syndicate. He was called Fearless, because when I was like watching, I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember that. The Big Shot Bounty Show with Judy and Punch. Laughed so hard at that recreation. It was really good. And we all have to take a moment to appreciate Spike hanging upside down from the building, and between the boobs poster or whatever, and just nonchalantly lighting a cigarette. Very Spike movement, very Spike thing to do. Julia being married to Vicious was an interesting twist, I thought. Again, she's much more prominent in this than she was the anime. Ain's introduction was cute. I love Spike's head cock when he's looking at Ain. It's just so funny, and Ain is just so cute. Jet's expanded story with his daughter, and the ex-wife being with one of the new cops that he knew, and that was interesting. That was a lot of expansion on his story. There was so much expansion on this. It's mind-blowing, really. I did like the moment when Vicious is in the car and Spike is and shoots the bullet through the bulletproof glass at him and scratches his cheek. And then when you see Spike walking away, it looked like Spike from the anime. It was a very Spike moment. It was really good. The Callisto Liberation Front and their pollination was wild. And this is kind of where you get a little introduction to Faye's history. And I kind of like that it was a little quicker, more, not so drawn out from what I recall from the anime. And the whole thing when Faye's trying to tell Spike and Jet about the Liberation Front and they don't believe her. That was a very, very Faye moment, and I think she nailed it. And then Faye's fascination with Ain was really funny. At one point, I kind of got the feeling that Julia was the brains behind Vicious almost. And it was a fleeting moment, but you kind of think, what's up there? When Spike is talking about Faye and he is like, I just want to kill her just a little bit. Please. That was great. When I was about halfway through watching these episodes, I really was like, oh my God, this really makes me want a Black Lagoon live action. For those of you who don't know, it's a great anime, really nitty gritty, and it's fabulous. So if you don't know about it, check it out. If you do, you know what I'm talking about. Faye's crash was some good acting for the actress when she crashed her ship. And then when she wakes up and Spike's being all cool with her, that was really funny. And she just wants to know who the cosmonaut is. And then Faye's shower, bath, shower. Not a bad idea, really. I do like Faye and Spike's banter, and it's pretty great. And then showing each other their scars from all their bounty hunter bounties that they've got captured, I guess I could say. Faye and the female mechanic was certainly an expansion on her story. That was interesting. Let's see. So in episode 6, we get essentially the Julia being killed theme, but in the form of a virtual reality moment with Spike at Dr. Landa's. That was different. So at that point, they mention a radical Ed. And I only kept thinking, okay, is that Ed? Is that Ed? Are we referring to Ed? Funny thing, like the glasses that all the bad guys wear, it was very reminiscent of like Men in Black. It was kind of comical. Faye and Jet celebrating saving Spike was a really cute and like really team moment. When Spike was like, "Mommies make the pain go away," like, oh my god, because like, yeah, going back to the virtual moment when Spike was in his virtual Groundhog Day type thing, and Julia says that he's the real psycho, not Vicious. My jaw kind of dropped in that moment because I was like, oh my god, that really illustrates his self-doubt in himself and with her. It was like an introspective moment. And you know, I thought it was funny that this kind of made it seem like it really took somebody to mention to Julia about Vicious not being around for her to be like, oh, I should take out Vicious. I thought that was an interesting kind of moment that I noticed, because it's when someone says, oh, if he's not around, and then she's like, ooh, you can see the wheels turning in Julia's mind. Oh my god, Spike pretending to be married to Jet on the bus to the old lady, that was hilarious. You know, Jet watching his daughter's recital and he's all dancing while Spike's in the background like killing people. It's really funny. The Iron Mink and Whitney, the fake Faye's mom, safe word. Ew. And when Faye steals Whitney's ship, that was great. I'm glad that they put in the video of Faye, because that was always like a really beautiful, sad moment in the anime for Faye. So I think they did a really good job with that one. I like that Jet and Spike watched that video with Faye, and I like their family time when they went bowling and gave her a birthday cake. That was really sweet. And then the Mad Pierre guy, even from the anime, I always kind of felt bad for him, but it was an interesting, just like, they really kind of came straight from the anime with that whole moment. And Ayn is another good example of why animal testing is not cool, man. And, Ayn was so cute. I just want to hug all the fur babies. And I like that they all go back to help Spike, but I really hate that they left Ayn. I didn't like that. The Vicious switcheroo when they chop off his head and it's the other guy, that was pretty good. With the face changing technology. So we kind of see where Vicious got his viciousness from his dad, and I was wondering if Vicious was going to find out that Julia wanted him dead. Kind of figured that would happen though. The flashback of Vicious and Spike working together was cool, and then of course you see Spike letting that woman and child go. It was like, no kids, no kids. I do like the club host at Anna's. It's funny. The first time Spike and Vicious see Julia in the nightclub on the flashback, it was like a very almost 1940s vibe, because let's face it, every mob boss had like a lounge singer, a girlfriend or something, a nightclub singer girlfriend. And then it's like you see like this almost romantic side of Vicious, and he could be romantic until he's not. So it's interesting in this, because then this is where it kind of gets crazy, because you see that Spike had this chance to kill Vicious and he didn't. I mean, he could have had Julia. He could have saved himself all this trouble and he didn't. So it's kind of crazy to think about that, you know? And then like, you know, because like you see like more of his story and it's like very twisted. Like, it's twisted, but it's like really kind of tragically sad at the same time. It's like, wow, no wonder you're so crazy, because like, look at your dad, yikes. And, you know, seriously, Vicious and his dad, like, not enough therapy in the world. And then, like, Anna's leg because of Vicious, definitely not because of getting old. That was an interesting tie-in. And then, like, you see that Julia was, like, basically kidnapped by Vicious's people. And then Vicious is all like, oh, Spike, she chose me. It's like, dude, come on. You are just playing dirty all around. And, I don't know. I like how nice Faye and Jet are near the end with each other. The twist at the end with Jet's daughter, that was really bringing the drama. And then, like, Faye just, like, walking away and be like, bye, I gotta go find out my stuff. As I said, there were definitely things changed, lots of twists and turns, and I do think Julia's guard in the car really probably should have waited till the car wasn't going so fast. It's kind of a dumb move, I think, but, you know, they were trying to get out, so I guess I get it. Of course, they have the infamous church scene, but I'm still going to say that I think that Vicious was a lot more menacing in the anime than he was here. I hate to say it, but I just feel like the character in this live action was almost borderline comical. I hate to say it, but that's the feeling I got. Again, Jet and his daughter, it was a very intense kind of, it was a lot. It was like, I wasn't really expecting all that with his daughter at the end. But then Faye saving the day was like everything. I figured Julia was going to kill Vicious, because she does make a good point to Spike about why didn't you come find me if you knew I was alive? And then, you know, her kind of wanting the power. Like, I feel that's a very, like, females rule the world, girl power moment, you know, but Julia is completely different in this because she is ruthless in this. Like, this is like, I mean, this is, I guess, symbolic of her taking back her power, you know. I mean, she's definitely taking back her power, but it is in a ruthless kind of way. But I get it at the same time because, yeah, Vicious was vicious. He's crazy. Yeah, hearing Jet's daughter call the other guy daddy, that was like so sad. And okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I was not missing Ed. Really wasn't, because Ed was not necessarily my favorite character. But I have to say his entrance in the end of this was really good. It was funny, but it was interesting how they ended this because they didn't end it the way they did with the anime. But I will say, like, they were definitely more team oriented overall, I think, than they were in the anime. Like, they seemed more like a team at times than others. I don't know. It was just a really interesting ending on how they chose to end this. But overall, it was really good, and I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. So I have to give them props. I feel like it was thoroughly enjoyable. And if you can get behind, like, you just have to take the ride, you know, because it's like, I knew it wasn't going to be exactly like the anime, and it definitely wasn't, especially how they ended it. So just enjoy the ride. See if you can get into it, because I really feel like it's more an adult version almost, because it really is expanded on, you know, the characters' histories and their storylines and things like that. So overall, I really enjoyed it, and I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to say that. So, brava. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time.